Bronco Belltech rear sway bar. This is everything that you get in the kit. This is a gray part. I spray painted it black just to get a little more salt protection. These are the nuts and bolts you get. We have the Bronco jacked up here. Trying to figure out how this gas tank skid plate combo works. In this, I'll report back. All right, so for the driver's side, this is kind of what you have to do. You have to minimally back this 24 mil upper control arm bolt out, because this weird clip nut that they put back there is in the way from you doing anything to get to this hole. It's still quite a bit of a pain, but with this is a 15 mil socket, 3/8 adapter, and I believe a 6 mil 1/4 inch drive. Able to feed that through here, fits through the hole just barely. My 3/8 wrench did not fit through, and I'm able to get at the nut on the back of this side and torque it down. Now we need to put this nut back in. Hopefully we don't cross thread, knock on wood, this clip nut here, and then we're on our way. All right, you're gonna re-torque this upper control arm bolt to 160 foot-pounds, 159 per the manual. You can shine a light in here in the backside where my index finger is and look straight that way to make sure the threads are coming correctly through this nut clip here. Torque these guys to 45 foot-pounds. I ended up going with the stiffest setting. They call it like the tow haul setting, because that's what created the best clearance of my skid plate on the other side. Threw a little grease in here. They didn't recommend that, but spherical bushing couldn't be a bad thing. 66 foot-pounds in these two bolts. Obviously my sway bar got all nicked up when I was installing it. 66 foot-pounds. I didn't have enough room for my torque wrench, so I just did a couple Uggs on these. You can see the gap is very small to the skid plate here, so that's why I dropped it down to this setting. The other two settings wanted to hit the gas tank skid plate, so that's that. I ended up flipping this clip around. It was pronged inwards. I pronged it towards the back kind of to match the other side in an effort to create more clearance. The threads here, I think I'm 6 or 7 full turns in on this, whatever this bolt is. Lock nut down, and I think I'm like 10 or 12 turns in on this one, so pretty even. Just kind of played with it to create the best clearance. So we will lower this down and finally be done. Alright, back on the ground, you can see how your clearance increases. So you could probably get away with, I think they call this Sport and OEM Plus. So Sport, OEM Plus. Looks like you can get away with it, but you just get really close to this skid plate. This is the OEM skid plate on my 2024 non-sasquatch Black Diamond Bronco. So other than that, we're done here. Call it a day. Call it an install. Have a good one. Alright, so driving assessment of the Belltech rear sway bar for the 2.3 Bronco is it definitely tightens up the ride a little bit. I have it in the stiff setting, which obviously you can back it off 2 settings, but as we come into these turns here, you're not going to be able to see anything on camera, but it definitely rotates flatter for me. And gives me a little bit more confidence in the corners. Obviously, this car is not going to corner well. It's a massive SUV, but those little on-road mannerisms that the Belltech rear sway bar affords is definitely appreciated. The other thing I really notice is Belltech rear sway bar really minimizes the rear brake, the dive that you have on braking. So you see I'm coming down a hill here and I'm getting on the brakes. It doesn't dive on me. I felt like without the rear sway bar, I felt like it was prone to diving. So overall, where am I at with the Belltech rear sway bar? I found that the install was super complicated. The area of the frame that they boxed in with my model year really made that bracket pretty difficult to install. So my recommendation, I think the other product is a Hellwig product that uses the standard rear sway bar mounting points that the Sasquatch model has. This is not a Sasquatch. I think that would probably be my recommendation over this Belltech product. Now, I installed the Belltech product because it was, I got a pretty good price on it. I bought it off someone for like $100. I think it's normally about a $500 part. Ooh, sweet old, maybe AMG right there. So the Belltech at that cost is doable, but at MSRP, no way. I do really like the driving characteristics it affords. I have it in the tightest setting now, with knowing that I can back it off 1 or 2 settings. We took a 2,000-mile road trip from Western New York to Acadia National Park, and I found specifically with the Bronco loaded up with gear, made for a really nice road trip vehicle. So I'm very happy with it. Again, at the price and the difficulty of install, I'd probably steer buyers towards the Hellwig product to use those factory mounting points for an easier installation. But overall, pretty pleased with the result. And I guess we got another corner here, so we'll see. Downshift a couple times. Yeah, it feels a little tighter. It's not night and day. I have not, technically the setting I'm in now is called a tow/haul setting, and I have not done any towing with this, but you know, we were really geared up pretty good. I had a bike on the back, a roof rack with my Thule roof pod up top, and chock full of gear for a week and a half trip. 2,000 miles. I think we averaged 19.5 miles to the gallon, which is to be expected and I'm pleased with. So, and surprisingly, my wife really likes the ride in the Bronco, so really happy with it. Again, I would check out both the Belltech and the Hellwig products if you're looking for them. I would probably steer someone in the Belltech or Hellwig direction over just doing the factory Sasquatch rear sway bar that Ford would provide. They're probably going to shell you pretty good on cost anyway, so you might as well get a beefier product. Overall, successful install and pleased with the result. Let me know what you think. Have a good day.